Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to a new video. My name is Evelyn Bartha, and I am back today with a new guidance from the Pleiadians about what is happening all around the world, what is taking place right now, this huge shift which I have been talking about so many times in my videos. However, if you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. I'm really happy to have you here. If you have been already here, then welcome back. I am so happy about you guys. Honestly, every single message that I receive, every single comment, everything that is coming from you, it is making me so happy, and I'm so appreciating you. So today I was very guided to talk about forgiveness, because things are starting to go down the hill again in the society, and I think we can feel that pressure, definitely. And I can say that I am feeling this pressure building up physically. I do feel this pressure in my head. I felt it yesterday as well, but today even more. Plus we had the equinox yesterday, and then we had the full moon, so loads of upgrades, loads of intense energies are hitting the planet. People are arriving to realizations, and I would say that this separation in the society which we have been participating in for so many years, all together with no exception. So this separation is reaching its culmination point at this moment. People arguing, one group of people attacking the other group of people for having different opinions. So this will be very, very present in the next few months, I would say. So things are kind of reaching one extreme, but that's a great news, because from one extreme of separation, things will go into the opposite extreme of unity and collaboration and compassion, in order for the energies to be balanced out, so things can come back into the middle, just as the pendulum does. So we will be very likely experiencing again things bubbling up to the surface from our subconscious mind. Fears, concerns about certain things, health issues, maybe financial issues, things concerning our freedoms. And it's very important to pay attention to those fears, to check with our subconscious what is the conditioning behind those fears, because the majority of those things are coming from childhood wounding, and we are carrying certain things from past lives with us. So if certain things haven't been balanced out and worked on in previous lifetimes, we will be carrying those things with us, and we will very consciously choose our families on a soul level in order to replicate those traumas, those issues, so we can work on those things and we can release those things in this lifetime. I am talking about that in more detail in my video called Black Sheeps and Scapegoats. Check that video if you want to learn more about that. So as I said, there is an energetic pressure, and it is so important for us to check with our subconscious mind what are those subconscious beliefs and fears that we have about money, about relationships, health, love, whatever area of your life is being triggered at this time. Check where is that subconscious fear coming from. And we have to be aware and to notice that we are responding from that trigger, from fear and defensiveness, and not to slip into the autopilot, but really to be consciously aware of where we are giving our attention to, where we are giving away our powers, what we consume, who we talk to. But first of all, the most important thing is to be able to forgive, because not forgiving the past and ourselves, therefore others, is the number one root cause of our suffering. That's why we are seeing enemies in other people. And forgiving people is not like, today I forgive you and I will force myself to forgive you, and I really want to forgive you because I know that I need to forgive you. If we try to forgive someone when we are still judging their actions and we don't understand their motives, the motives behind their actions and why they acted the way they acted, we will not be able to forgive. We will be just torturing ourselves for not being able to let the past go. So it's important to understand that whenever you acted in a certain way in the past and you didn't have the awareness that you have right now, you didn't know what you were, now you do. Now you have awakened to your truth. But back then, you did consider that doing that particular thing was the best thing in that particular moment to do. You were not acting based on your true self, which is pure divine essence. You were acting based on the programming and conditioning that has been planted in you. The ego loves conceptual identity, and it loves to cling to conceptual identity, even though It might inflict suffering on itself and on others as well, because that's what the ego does. It inflicts suffering on others as well, not only on itself. So it doesn't know its real essence. So when you acted in the past from that conceptual identity that wasn't your true self, that was just a delusional identity, then that wasn't you. That was just a conditioning acting in that particular moment. And now you can see that. You can see that your true essence is divine. Your true essence is God. Your true identity is God's identity, is equal with source identity. And that is the real you. And when you have that realization about yourself, that not the real me, not the real I acted in the past, but the conditioned me, then you can have that realization about other people as well. That the way they act, the way they think, is just a result of their conditioning, of their conceptual identity, which has nothing to do with the real them, the real essence of God that is within them as well. So real forgiveness occurs when you have that realization that there is nothing to forgive. When we understand that under those layers of conditioning there is a true essence, then we realize that it was just an illusion. What they did, what they thought, what we did, and had nothing to do with our true selves. And it's very challenging when we think about the acts and deeds of certain people. It can be very, very challenging to forgive them. And many people think that forgiveness is equal with agreeing with those deeds, and that forgiveness is justifying those acts. Forgiveness is not justifying those acts. Forgiveness simply means that we decide not to judge those acts any longer, not to judge those people any longer, and ourselves. So forgiveness is letting go of the judgment and seeing the innocence of people as divine beings under those layers of conditioning and layers of the ego mind. So until we don't see people for what they truly are, which is divine, which is the essence of God, then we cannot ascend to higher levels of consciousness. We cannot have the unity consciousness. We want justice, we want tolerance, equality, love and compassion in the society. Yet we do judge those groups of people that have a different thinking than us, that have a different point of view than us, especially at this time about certain decisions. Yet we do want equality in the society. We cannot have equality, we cannot have justice, we cannot have love until we stop judging those groups of people just because they have a different opinion. Fifth dimension is seeing you, hearing you for what you think, and respecting you for that, and saying, oh, I think differently, but that's amazing. That's amazing because that's diversity. And it's amazing because we still come from the same essence, and we are just experiencing different aspects of God, and God experiencing different aspects of himself through us. We cannot be all the same. We have to be diverse because we live in a diverse universe, and that is so beautiful. That is fifth dimension. But not judging each other for being diverse, not judging each other for having different preferences, opinions, letting go of the judgment, letting go of the anger. It's okay to be colorful. It's okay to think differently, to make different decisions, because we all came with diverse missions and with the mission of experiencing different aspects of ourselves. Perhaps in a previous lifetime you took the complete opposite decision of the decision that you are taking in this lifetime. And you said, oh, I will come to this life to experience the opposite side of the coin. So we are just reflections of each other, and we are seeing our own reflection in other people because we come from the same essence. And if something is a trigger for us, perhaps we see ourselves in those people that are triggering us. We see our past selves, or we see aspects of ourselves that haven't been accepted by us, that have been resisted, pushed aside. So we are all one after all, and we come from the same essence. And I want to read the message that I received from the Pleiadians that talks about decisions that people are making at this time, and some great news. So because some parts of the message are not so easy to understand, it took me some time as well to understand what they were trying to say. So because of that, I will get into a little bit of an explanation, but now I will read the message for you. So this channeled message is from the 22nd of September 2021 from the Pleiadians. We, the Pleiadians, are here to tell you that the concepts behind your beliefs are the ones that are determining your choices at this time. So please do not resist anything that is surfacing, because this information is coming from your higher selves, and all the masses that are going through the awakening process of the souls are also receiving messages from their higher selves and higher realms. They are eliminating the shadows of their minds that are blocking the information from coming through. Therefore, the messages that are surfacing at this time are serving the awakening of these individuals. The grand purpose is having as an objective the awakened spirit to be merged with the human consciousness, and that consciousness to be displayed in form of thoughts that arise in people's minds at this time. Please be aware of the fact that these thoughts are coming more from the higher self and less from the conditioned mind. Therefore, they will be directed towards the evolution of the elevated consciousness that is solving key problems on your societal level. There is an awakening of the souls taking place, and you shall all be glad for such shift, as it will solve the evolutionary dilemma of having as an objective the mind driving this process. We would like to let you know that being in the present moment is what you all need to be focusing on in your minds. Please train your minds to eliminate distractions of the third dimensional consciousness level and to be in the present moment. You will all go through the death of the ego mind in some shape or form, as that is preparing you for the next step of your evolution. Make the necessary changes in your life that are supporting the ability to stay present in your consciousness. This is incredibly important as the months of this year are going by. You will come out of the turmoils of your societal structures with victory. Every one of you will be prevailing and rising above any challenge that is taking place on the third dimensional level. Your eternal questions about what is that will change and how it will happen will answer themselves, and you will all feel the lightness of the mind that is bringing forward the peacefulness of the soul. Your minds and souls will be aligned as love prevails and overcomes anything. Be the beam of light in the midst of fear that is enveloping your planet at this time. Be the holders of the gateway to the awakening to spirit in the midst of turmoil that humans are experiencing. Lead by example and show you receive the guidance to set aside whatever you have thought of others and only focus on the light within their hearts. We will leave you now in the peace of your souls and the love of the infinite eternity. So this is what I received from the Pleiadians last night, and what I'm understanding from this message is that there is a great awakening that is taking place. People that we might not have thought about will awaken this month due to certain things that probably are happening within the societal structures, and they will awaken to the truth, to what is going on in the world. They are awakening to their true selves by eliminating those shadows that have been blocking the information to come through. So everything that is arising at this time, we do have to know that is coming from our higher selves more than from the conditioned mind. And this process will happen exactly to other people as well, receiving information from divine sources, from their higher selves, from higher realms as well. And interestingly, I pulled in my last video the clear cognizance card that is saying that we have to pay attention to thoughts that are arising because they are divinely guided. So just keep in mind that when you're having thoughts and ideas are coming to you, they are divinely guided and they're not coming from the conditioned mind. And because our awakening is also triggering other people's awakenings, and our frequency is contributing in that grid, in that planetary grid, which is allowing other people as well to have that spiritual awakening, that might bring certain information from people's higher selves that will solve key problems on a societal level. So many people that are in leadership positions in those societal structures as well might have those awakenings as well, and those divinely guided thoughts. And it's so amazing that these changes and this shift on a societal level will be happening from the inside out, without these multidimensional beings having to interfere directly in this process. Because if they did that, they would interfere with our free wills. So they are trying to preserve our free will, and this is what the GFL was saying in my last channeling as well, that they are making sure that we can make a choice at this time without our free wills to be violated. We can go either right or left, and hence why there are so many walk-ins. There are these multi-dimensional souls, evolved souls that decided to come to Earth, to incarnate here, and many children as well keep coming from higher realms. So this whole grand awakening is being aligned with the laws of the universe and free will. They also say that it's very important for us to be in the present moment at this time and to train our minds. Go within, meditate, try your best to eliminate those third dimensional distractions from your reality, from your environment as much as you can. I know it's not easy because the information is everywhere. The information is out there, and we pick up on that energy even without being aware that we picked up on that energy. And then we have these ascension symptoms as well, and we have these physical reactions to those energies. I do have my headache, as I said. I do feel this pressure constantly in my head, and that is because of that pressure and anger that is being built up right now and will have to be released at some point. Otherwise, there's no way out. Also, what they said is that there is an awakening of the souls taking place, and we will be glad of this shift that is happening, and it will solve that evolutionary dilemma of having as an objective the mind driving this process. First, I was like, what does that mean? And then I understood that it will solve the dilemma and that objective which has been used by humanity, which is the left brain to solve certain problems. And this will shift as well, because the driving force will be the right brain. So we will be solving these problems not by relying on our left brains, on logic, intellect, reasoning, rational thinking, but rather on the right brain, which is compassion, love. So we will come out of this turmoil with victory, and our minds and souls will be aligned as love prevails and overcomes everything. So whatever is ahead, whatever is coming, whatever challenges are we facing in the near future, we don't have to fall into believing that this will be permanent and our freedoms are lost forever and we are just the victims of this tyranny and there's no way out. Things are going to be bumpy and challenging for a while, but we have to be patient, because it is just a question of time before people are going to turn the whole situation around in our favor as a race, as a species. Plus, we have a lot of support and a lot of guidance from the spirit realm. So there's nothing to be afraid of. And you know what? Before I end this video, I feel like I want to pull an oracle card from this deck, Wisdom of the Oracle. And let's ask Spirit, what does it have to say about this whole situation in the world that is starting to go absolutely crazy? We'll pick this card over here. Let's see. Observer. Number 49. What I was saying at the beginning of the video. People are acting based on their social conditioning, on their environment, their culture, their upbringing, their childhood wounding, and to see that they are only identifying themselves with a false identity, the ego, and not with what they are, their real essence. So it's important to take a step back at this time and not to get engaged in those crazy things that are going on in the world right now. Not to get engaged into conflicts and debates with people that are not going anywhere anyways, because there are certain subconscious patterns that you cannot change in people's minds. So just bring yourself back to that 0 point frequency where you can gain clarity. And it's important for us to be in the present moment, just to focus on the present without being worried about the future and what's going to happen next. I'm actually thinking about just closing my Facebook account for a while, because whatever people are sharing there is definitely not serving me well, let's just say. And at the bottom of the deck we have number 7 to the sea, which talks about being in the flow, returning to source, recognizing how pieces fit together, a natural pattern of events. So we just have to be in the flow of life to ride the waves of the opportunity, because many things we cannot control. They are outside of our control at the moment. There are certain forces that are influencing whatever is going on, and that is out of our personal control. But what we are in control with is how we respond to those things, and to keep that connection to source that can help us to overcome any challenge, basically. So I think that is for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you as always. And I will be back with another video where I will be talking about October's energies. And I will ask the Galactic Federation or the Pleiadians probably about October, or maybe even Archangel Metatron. We'll see who wants to come through. And I will probably pull a few cards as well to see what the energies of October are. It will be an interesting month. And yeah, so thank you again, guys, for being here. Thank you for watching. If the message has resonated, then you can feel free to share it with others. You can feel free to subscribe. Also, you can give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't, you can give it a thumbs down as well. Both are good for the algorithm. And yeah, just be aware of where you are giving your power away, and be in the present moment, because that is the best and most precious thing that we can do. So take care of yourselves, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Kisses to you all.